Hi everyone, so if you're tuning into this channel for the first time, my name's Marianne Hanson. I'm a counsellor and a coach. I work with individuals that are struggling with depression, with low self-esteem, with stress, and also I work with couples and individuals who are struggling in their relationships. So what I want to talk about in this video is some of the reasons that you may be struggling to leave your abusive relationship. So I've worked for a domestic violence charity. Previously, I did 3 years as a volunteer counsellor. I'm currently working on their helplines, helping women who are either still in a domestic violence relationship, or they've recently left, or they're looking for refuge. So what I want to talk about is really there are some barriers, and some of the barriers are things that are put in place, legal barriers or other things that are external. But there are also some barriers to people leaving which are coming from themselves, and that's not a judgment or criticism of the person. There's lots of psychological and emotional reasons why people struggle to leave their abusive relationship, and I'm going to just do a combination of some of the most common ones. So the first reason is that you think the person is going to change. So you're only seeing one side of the person, and that's always dangerous, because that's probably the reason why lots of people remain in abusive relationships for many years, because they're focusing on how the person used to be. They're not kind of taking into account that that person who you met probably 5 years in the relationship, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, that person is no longer present in the relationship, or they might be. But what you have to be sometimes is logical and use your head, not your heart. If someone is constantly beating you physically, verbally abusing you, treating you badly, gaslighting, doing all sorts of things, then it doesn't matter who they were 3 years ago, or it doesn't really matter how they were, last week. You've got to focus on what's going on right now in your relationship. And if you hold like this hope that the person is going to change, or that's out of your control. So only the person who's been abusive in a relationship can change, and they can choose when they want to do that. That has got absolutely nothing to do with you. And I've said this in other videos, and I'm quite clear on this. Another person can't change someone else. It doesn't matter how influential you are, how much power you feel you might have, or you might say, well, when they dated me, they were different. They've abused all their other partners, but they got to me and they were different. That's because they chose to be different in that relationship, and it doesn't mean that they can't revert back to who they are. So one of the things that shouldn't be preventing you is waiting on your partner to change. That's got to be their journey. They've got to decide that for themselves. But what you have to decide is, are you willing to put up with being treated badly? The second thing is, you don't believe, or you don't think you can make it on your own. But also combined with that is, you believe you deserve to be in the situation you're in. If you're in an abusive relationship, there is normally not just the physical or the emotional. There's usually a combination of things. And part of the reason for that is because the perpetrator is trying to make you feel like you are worthless, or that you are not strong. And this happens a lot in relationships where a man will meet someone who's really confident, they've got a good job, they're in a top position, they're earning good money, they're valued by people, and then the whole purpose will be to break that person down, to make them feel like they're nothing. Now, if you get to that stage where you don't believe in yourself, or you believe all the things the perpetrator has told you, you're not going to believe that you can escape and go on to live a happy life. So it's a mental thing more than an actual there's no evidence to say that you can't move on and live a good life. You probably were living a good life before you met this person, but mentally they've convinced you, and then you've convinced yourself that you wouldn't make it on your own. So then in turn, those sorts of negative thoughts are that you deserve to be here. It's your fault. You made the wrong decision choosing this person. So then you just stay. So it's a cycle. So you don't even if the door was open and the person said, you might as well leave, or they don't want you anymore, you're going to then reverse things by begging them to not end the relationship. That's how psychologically damaging abusive relationships can be. The third thing, it's linked with that, is that you're mentally broken. You've basically given up. So giving up, it's not like you are saying out loud, right, that's it, I want to be in this abusive relationship, I want to be treated badly. And I think that's where the myths come in. The public or society sort of sees it as being, why does this person stay? Why don't they just walk out the door? What's wrong with them? They must like it, you know, and they chose to be in this relationship. They've had lots of opportunities, but they haven't gone. When you're mentally broken down, and this can happen not just in abusive relationships, this can happen in life in lots of different areas. It means that you no longer feel or have the capacity to fight for what you want anymore. You just give up. You just say, well, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. You just say, well, if, you know, he's emotionally abusive to me, or if she's verbally and physically abusive to me, I'm just going to, I'm not going to fight back, or I'm not going to do anything about it. It will be over soon, and that sort of thing. And when you get to that sort of mentality, it means it's unlikely that you're going to leave unless there's either an intervention where someone actually helps you to leave, or you kind of get out of that mentality of thinking. And it's hard to do it, because if you've been broken down by someone for many years and you love that person, then you're going to sometimes believe what they've said. So you will just give up on yourself, and you will just accept, this is my fate, this is where I'm at. The fourth thing is, you want to prove to someone. Some people, especially young people, get into relationships with the wrong person. They recognise quite quickly, this is not the type of person I want to be in a relationship with, but they don't want to leave because they know their friends or their family are going to say, I told you so. And that is like not a reason at all to anyone to stay in a relationship. Even if you've had to give up loads of things and sacrifice a lot to be with this person, maybe this person is outside of your culture and your family are racist. Maybe this person is against your religion and your family have said they're going to disown you and sort of things. So if you've sacrificed so much for lots of people, they're not going to then leave that person, because they're going to think, well, I gave up my family for him, or I gave up my friends, you know, or I went into hiding for this person because, you know, my family were after me and stuff. That it doesn't matter if you've done all of that. That actually makes it worse, because if you've sacrificed all of that and then you're still being abused, then what was the point of doing that? So the way to look at it is, even if you walk away from this person and your family might not ever forgive you or take you back, you still haven't lost anything, because you've gone from one bad thing to something worse. So don't ever let that be a reason for you to stay in an abusive relationship. The fifth thing, the usual stuff. There's three more that are usual, and that is that you're scared, and obviously fear comes into it. You've probably been threatened and told, if you ever leave, I'm going to come after you, I'm going to kill you, or whatever. Your lack of finances, that's another big one, and worries you'll lose the children. So all I want to say with all three of those things, because they are genuine concerns, is you need to get involved with organisations that can help you with safety plans. I've made videos about this already, about keeping yourself safe. There are lots of things that you can do, and there's lots of things that you definitely shouldn't do. So I've said it in another video, do not ever confront someone who is dangerous. And even if you feel that, you know, they're not going to hurt you, you have no obligation to confront them and say that you're leaving. You don't need to tell them. The minute you open your mouth and say you're leaving, that's when they're going to possibly snap, because they've got nothing to lose, and that's a control thing. Lack of finances, there is also solicitors that can get involved with that. There's also probably friends, family, people that can assist in terms of finances. And in terms of the children, there's social services, there's solicitors, there's lots of organisations that will deal with situations where there's been domestic abuse in a relationship and that custody has to go ahead, or contacts. There's mediators. So the best thing you can do in any of these situations is do some research about what's available, contact some organisations that are out there, let your friends and family know what you're thinking, what you're considering, and then try to stay mentally, you know, well, so that you can make a clear decision with clarity. So that's all I can really say on it. I'll probably make more videos similar to this. As I said, you can check out some of my videos on my channel about safe ways to leave an abusive relationship, some of the myths surrounding why people think women stay. I've been making quite a few videos over the years about domestic violence, because it's one of the areas that I have worked in, and I've also got like a passion in this area. Please feel free to leave your comments. Let me know what you think. Also, if you want to share this video, please feel free to share it. Someone else might benefit from it. And thank you for watching. Take care. I'll see you soon. Bye.